Welcome back, everybody. Rob from Crown of Thorns with another Bible study video just for you and for me. I learn a lot from doing these as well. And we're continuing this series that we started last week, The Shadow Empire, exposing the Illuminati. Actually, I ended up changing the title at the last minute once I put it up on YouTube because I knew it would be flagged if it mentioned Illuminati. Just like there's other words and things that you can't use, or it'll get flagged, taken down, or whatever else. So now I'm calling it Satan's Shadow Empire and just kind of leaving it at that. And so far, YouTube hasn't done anything about it. They haven't flagged it. They haven't tried to take it down. So I'm very, very, very happy about that. But again, if they do end up taking any of these videos down, find me on Rumble, all right? And I will do a separate Bible study video for YouTube just to keep that channel active. I want to keep the channel active. So, it's been a busy day for me already. It's about 7:20, almost 7:30 in the evening on Friday. And I'm just now getting ready to getting around to filming. I was in Cadillac, which is a town north of where I live, for most of the day, and then I had to go over to Harrison, which is a town about 45 minutes east of Cadillac. I had to be there by 4:30 for a wedding rehearsal. As you can see, I'm wearing my Sonic Boom DJ t-shirt. I told you before I'd sold my business. That is true. However, I still had a few contracts that I needed to fulfill. And this wedding that I'm doing tomorrow, Saturday, October 8th, is the last one. And then I'm done. But I am officiating, and I'm also the DJ, and then we're also going to have photography there. So it was a busy day. I just got home not too long ago, but the wedding is tomorrow, so I'll be there all day tomorrow, and then it's going to be Sunday. That's when the video goes up. That's when you're watching this. So this was my only chance to get the filming done. It's been a busy week, and it's been, like I said, a busy day. Also a very cold and rainy day. Very cold and rainy, hence this jacket, because as I've mentioned before, where I do my filming, there's no heat or AC or whatever else, so whatever. That's okay though. It's worth it to do these videos. So, because I am officiating tomorrow, I'm also playing the ceremony music. What I do is, not that anyone cares, but I'm going to explain it anyhow. What I do is I have a notepad, Samsung notepad, and on that I have my script that I'm going to use to get this lovely couple married. I just put it on in Dropbox, and then I can access it whenever I need to. And then on a separate phone, I have a couple of different phones that I use. And on this other cell phone is where I have music. And then I have a Bluetooth speaker, a nice, good-sized Bluetooth speaker, PA speaker. So I can run the music from my phone, okay, and then still do the actual talking, whatever else, with my little script on the notepad. But in order to balance all of that, I had to take my podium that I use typically in here for these Bible study videos, where I put my notes and my Bible. And because I left it there, because I'm going to need it tomorrow, I don't have it now. So I have my notes propped up against the TV screen behind the camera, so I can read off that, and I've got some notes on my cell phone that I'll be referring to as well, and I have no place to set this, so I'll be carrying it, and when I need to write, I'll set it down, and so that's why it's different today. Who cares? I don't know, but I told you that story anyway. I threw it in for free. I won't even charge you for that. All right, guys, I am glad to be here. I got a lot of positive feedback on the first video. People have been telling me that they're looking forward to today's video, to seeing where this goes. There's so much that we covered in just the first video, and we've got a lot to cover in this video as well. I'm going to get to a certain point, and then I'm going to stop. And I'm hoping that it'll come close to an hour. But I'm going to stop there because when I know I'm going to need at least one, maybe two more videos to round this thing out. And there's a certain spot where I want to stop just for continuity purposes. All right. So last week we talked about a whole lot. These pyramids. All of society is set up with these pyramids. Okay. Jobs, like we talked about, are set up with these pyramids. The world power is set up with these pyramids. And so far we've touched on the 13 families and how they play into the Vatican, the Jesuit Order, and we touched on the Black Pope. Right here. We're going to get more into that today. We haven't even touched yet on the secret orders and the face organizations. Governments and politicians, we've talked about that a little bit. But we're going to see how all of this comes together. We talked about the Rothschilds, Russia, the Vatican, money. Look, money is the center of all of this. Money and power, and really money is power. Okay? And we all know that the love of money is the root of all evil. Yes? Not money itself. Money is not evil. So I'm trying to keep my notes up here. Money is not evil. Money is necessary. Money is good if you use it properly. But the love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. The love of money is the root of all evil. And that is the problem with all of this. It is the love of this right here. Like I said, they know the one true God. They just hate him and they despise him and they reject him. They want nothing to do with salvation. All they're concerned about is this right here, money. Because money brings power. Power brings stability. Power brings control. And that's what all this is about. These right here, control. Whether it's in the military, job, school, society, the world power anyway, all of it is going to follow these little pyramids, these triangles, okay? And the thing of it is see, pyramid schemes, as I talked about before, are technically illegal in the United States because what happens is the money and the power and everything flows from the bottom to the top with no return for those at the bottom. So technically, they change that. They tweak it some so that some of the money that's going up will start to trickle back down. Back in the 80s, they used to call it trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics or Reaganomics. And you can, whatever about Reagan, whatever your opinion is, that's fine. I'm just saying that's what they talked about in the 80s, and that's kind of what this is too. The way to avoid being labeled an actual pyramid scheme is you have to have something coming back down to these people down here. And so that's what we have. Here, not so much, although some. Look, technically, slavery is illegal in the United States, but think about this. With this in place right now, yes, we say we have freedoms. We can go to this place or be this kind of a this occupation, whatever else, and all of that is true. But know this: with the implementation of a tax system, you are perpetually a slave. Perpetually. The Social Security number enslaves you. Okay? That is your number. That is how they enslave you. That's how they get tax money from you. That's how they can control you. That's how they keep track of what you do, where you are. That's how you can get a job or anything else. You are a slave. Yes, you get some compensation. So maybe it's not technically slavery. Maybe it's like indentured servitude. Okay? But that is what all of us are. Okay, you go to work, you get a paycheck, and before you can even cash it, before you even look at it, money has already been taken out. Against your will, maybe. Maybe some of you like paying taxes. I don't. Nobody asked. Nobody ever asked me, hey, can we take some money out of your check? No, they just do it. In any other scenario, that would be called stealing. And it is stealing. Taxation is theft. I've said it before. So all of us are indentured servants to this entire system. And you have to get outside of that matrix. And it's not easy, but you can do it. There are ways. And we, as a society, the power lies with us. The problem is most people either don't realize it or they don't care. That's really what it comes down to. But if we, the people, really wanted to change things, we have the numbers and the resources in which to do so. Okay? But as it stands, because most people are passive, this is what you're left with. Okay? But we'll get into all of that and more as we go on and on. So I got to put this down for a second because I'm going to do some writing right here. I want to ask you something. And I need my phone for a second. I want to make sure I spell this right because it is Latin. Okay? All right. Where will I put it? I'm running out of room, but I don't want to take anything off here. And I'll put it here as best I can. All right? Oops. So you already started spelling something wrong. And I'm looking right at it. How does that even happen? I don't know. I'll underline it to keep it separate from that other wording. All right. Remember last week we talked a little bit about the Federal Reserve. Abe Lincoln. The Federal Reserve, which is not federal at all, just a banking cartel which destabilized our currency, took us off the gold standard, is now a fiat currency, and now they can control your money through inflation, deflation, and whatever else they want to do. All right. And like I said, when they started printing up, your $1, $5, $10 bills, but especially the $1 bill, for you to have as your currency, I said they put on there, "In God we trust," to pacify you, to make you think, oh, it's not so bad. I guess it won't be so bad to have these people controlling our currency, even though it's backed by nothing. So they pretty much control it. I don't know. I wasn't there when they did it. I would have been kicking and screaming. And it seems like more people would have been, but they were not. So here we are, and we have that. So they put "In God We Trust" on there to pacify you. But they're also, look, I said it before, even in the TV shows, in the movies, they throw it in your face. This is what we're doing. But you think, oh, it's just a show. It's just fiction. They don't really mean it. They do. There's a lot of truth in these TV shows. They just know that most people are not going to realize it. But look at your $1 bill again. I talked about that before. The all-seeing eye, the 13 layers of bricks. This you will also see. Okay? Annuit coeptis novus ordo seclorum. Now that's Latin. So what does it mean? Well, annuit, announce, announcing. Coeptis. Coeptis is to give birth. Okay? To birth something, so to speak. Or to create. Okay. Novus is new. Ordo, order. Seclorum, the world. Okay. So what is it saying? Announcing the birth of the new world order. They put it right on your currency. And nobody bats an eye. They put it right on the currency, announcing the birth of, or the beginning of, whatever, the new world order. And that is the truth. When the Federal Reserve came in and took over the currency, control the currency, you control everything. Once that happened, the New World Order was birthed. And it's been growing and growing ever since. But nobody pays any attention to it. And it's right in your face. Everybody has had a $1 bill in their possession at one point. Even the poorest of people have had at least a $1 bill in their possession at one time or another. And it says right on there exactly what their goals are, what their goal is, what they're attempting to do, what they're going to do, what they want to accomplish. It's like the Georgia Guidestones. It said right on there what their goal was: to reduce the population to 500 million by 2030. Now there's 7.5 billion people in the world right now in 2022. That means they've got less than 8 years, about 7 years, to accomplish the goal of eliminating 7 billion people. Do you see where all of this is going? This all goes back to, look, I've been talking a lot about all these different terms. The Vatican, the Jesuit Order, the Black Pope, the Rothschilds, all of this really probably more familiar terms that you would know, that you're more familiar with, is the deep state or the cabal. Okay? These are the people who run and rule everything. Okay? And then you'll have, and we'll talk about it later, your face organizations that put forth the agenda. Okay? They put forth the agenda, and then you have your pawns, your governments and politicians, who take the necessary steps to carry it out. Okay? See how this all works. Again, going back to this right here. Okay? This guy, he owns it. He makes all the calls. Now he passes it down to this guy, and this guy now has to implement it. Put it in place. Make it run. And these are the people that actually have to carry it out. Carry out the orders. Okay, the shopping carts go on the left-hand side of the door, not the right-hand anymore. Whatever it may be. All right? That's all of this. That's what's happening here now as we speak. And it's only getting worse. All right? I wanted to talk a little bit more just briefly about the Freemasons. Because as I was pulling into Harrison today for that wedding, right there, the Freemasons welcome you to Harrison. The big sign, and I'm just like, wow. And we talked some about the Freemasons, what they do, what they believe, the things that they've carried out. It's so ironic to me that they're just so blatant about what they believe, what they do, who they are. But yet people still join that. I don't get it, but whatever. So the Freemasons, by the way, are the ones who created the whole globe falsehood. Okay? They're the ones who, look, everything that these people are doing will be the opposite of what your King James Bible says. Okay? This says that God created everything. They say, no. A dot of nothing exploded, rapidly expanded, and everything evolved over millions and billions of years. This says, if you read it and you put the verses together, that the earth is flat, that it's stationary, that it's the sun that does the traveling. They say, no. The earth is a sphere, and it's moving, and it's the sun that stays still. Everything that they say is the opposite of what this says. Okay? Going back to Adam and Eve. Remember when Satan was tempting Eve, okay? And he's talking about the tree of life. And Eve said, God hath said, we should not eat from this tree. And Satan, all he did was switch around two words. Instead of, God hath said, he then turned to Eve and said, hath God said? Putting doubt in her mind. Are you sure that's what God said? I mean, think about it. Maybe that's not what he really meant. Maybe God didn't really mean that. He didn't really say that. Hath God said you shouldn't eat from this tree? And there we go. You start changing around words, manipulating, and that's the start of everything. Your newer translations. For those of you that are still hanging on to an NIV, NLT, and all those other perversions, all they've done is the exact same thing. Change around the wording, delete some words, take some verses out, and it does change doctrine. Watch my videos about King James only for that. But do you see? Even in your own Bible, they're doing all of this. Unless you have a King James. But whatever. So, the Freemasons, they're the ones who started this whole globe sphere thing. Just more lies. More lies on top of lies. All right. So, let's take a look at where we left off. The Black Pope. All right. The Black Pope. He is the president of the entire world. He alone is the president of the entire world. Okay. We talked about the Jesuit Order. Okay. And how all the world leaders swear an allegiance to the Black Pope. Doing this inverted satanic ritual. All right. So the Black Pope is the guy at the very top. Okay, you got these 13 families. We talked about how they converge and merge and form these different sects and orders and whatever else. But basically, they're all one conglomerate. Okay, and at the very top, or the leader of all this, is this Black Pope. All right. Let's take a look at something really quickly. Revelation. Go to Revelation chapter 17. Revelation 17. And we're looking at verses 4 and 5. All right. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. I'm going to stop right there. What church that you can think of were their priests and whatever else, the popes and all that good stuff, arrayed in purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious stones? What kind of a church has all the golden images and stuff, the stuff you're not supposed to do? Precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Look, the Bible was calling it way back then. Okay? Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now, remember, during the time when the Bible is being written, even after Paul, when this is being revealed to John, okay, they were still under Roman rule. You cannot speak poorly of the Roman Empire if you live under the Roman Empire. So, and I've talked about this before in my Catholicism videos, Babylon was a code word for Rome. Okay? Well, where is the Vatican at? Oh, yeah. Right? So, in this, they're using a code word Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations on earth. They're talking about Rome. And even back then, it's being revealed that this woman, talking about the Catholic Church, the Vatican, is arrayed in purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, because they've led so many astray. Because they've dabbled in all these other pagan religions. Look, Catholicism, going back all the way to Constantine, was nothing more than let's take a little bit of Christianity and a whole bunch of this paganism junk, and we'll mix it all together, and now we've got us a brand new religion. That's fornication in God's eyes. You're cheating on Him. Okay? By mixing this paganism in there. That's what the Bible's talking about. Go to 17:9, just a few verses down. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Look, if you look it up, even Google, and yes, there are other cities where there's going to be some 7 hills and whatever else, but we're talking about within the Bible, and going back to, again, comparing Scripture to Scripture, going back to verses 4 and 5, the city of 7 mountains or 7 hills always refers to Rome, right where the Vatican sits. That's why it says, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Going back to the woman, arrayed in purple and scarlet, the Catholic Church. Even way back here, almost 2,000 years ago. But of course, God would know that. He knows everything. He's outside of time. We already talked about that before. He knew what was going to happen. He knew that there would be this false church that has led so many people astray, teaching people that their works are what's going to get them into heaven. We know what happens when you stand before that great white throne and try to use your works. Not going to happen. You must trust 100% upon this if you want to be saved. And this church does not believe that, nor do they teach it. Okay? So, I wanted to throw that out there because, again, all of this ties in biblically. So the Black Pope, all right, he rules over maritime laws. Now, if you've ever been to court or anything else, you know what maritime laws are. He controls the banking system. Yeah. So we talked before about the Federal Reserve, this banking cartel. This Black Pope is the head of that. Do you see how he's the head of the world? He's the president of the world. Now, he's not the ruler of the world or the god of this world. That's Satan. But who do you think he's serving? He's not serving God, that's for sure. Freemasonry, secret services like the CIA, the FBI, NSA, the Scotland Yard, all these things that are implemented, and we see them in the United States, the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, all that stuff, handed down by this guy right here. Like I said, he's handing it down to this, they send it over to these guys to implement it, and then it falls on us. This is the guy. He's at the very top, the pinnacle of this right here. Okay? And yeah, if you don't think that he's serving Satan, I wouldn't be surprised if he's possessed by the devil himself. And I believe wholeheartedly that our Antichrist, not our Antichrist, but you mean the Antichrist that we're going to see before we rapture up, is going to come out of Rome. It's going to come out of this right here, the Vatican. Sorry, but it's the truth. And again, just quickly, there's so many people who keep saying, oh no, we're going to rapture out of here before the Antichrist is revealed. Wrong. Paul said that day will not come until the falling away, which is apostasy, that's already happened, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Okay? Anyway, that's a rabbit trail. I won't go there too long. All right, so the white pope. That's the guy that we see now. Francis, I think his name is. Francine. He's wearing a skirt. Francine sounds more appropriate to me. Anyway, he's nothing more than a figurehead. Again, just the person that we put out front. He's the puppet. He's the pawn. He's the guy we put out front as the face, like I talked about before, having a face business for your money laundering that's going on in the background. The white pope is the guy out front just representing the Catholic Church. This is the guy that's really in control. This is the guy that they all answer to. All right? 2 Thessalonians. I want to look at that verse. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the one I was just talking about. But I want to show it to you, or read it to you. I guess I could show it to you too if I hold it close enough. Anyway, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. We're going to look at verses 3 and 4. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. And people say, oh, he's talking about the second coming. No, he's not. He's talking about the rapture. Again, comparing scripture to scripture, you can see, and plus Paul was always talking about that day, the rapture. Okay? Jesus talked about, when he said that day, he was talking about his second coming. All right? But Paul is talking about the rapture. So he says, that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, apostasy, we've already seen that, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Well, who is this son of perdition? We talked about that before. The man of sin is the Antichrist. He gets assassinated. He's indwelt by Satan. Satan possesses him, and he comes back to life. Now he's the son of perdition. Look, this guy right here, I don't know who this black pope is. Actually, I do. I found a picture of him along with Francine. Okay, I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter. But I believe he could be the devil himself. He could be the Antichrist. I don't know. We'll find out. I do believe the Antichrist exists right now. He just hasn't been revealed yet. All right. So anyway, verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. What do the Catholics believe, even about Francine, the white pope? That he's infallible. If he's infallible, that means he's without sin. He can't even make any mistakes. Doesn't that place him at least on level with God? And the Bible says that there's only one mediator between God and man, and that's Jesus Christ. But who do they have? Oh, they have their priests, and you come to me for confession. And you talk to me, and then I'll intercede for you. Isn't that placing yourself on the same level as God? But if you actually believe that you're on the same level as God, then you're basically saying that you are above God. And that's who the Antichrist is. That's what he does. That's what these people do. That's what they believe. The Catholics. Or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. That's the Antichrist. But I tell you, this is the guy that is already, he's like the precursor to the Antichrist. If he's not the Antichrist himself, I don't know yet. We will see at some point. But I tell you, that it's coming. And there's so many Catholics who don't even realize what their church truly stands for. They have no idea. Or they do and they just ignore it. It's like today I was driving and I saw this billboard, pray the rosary. What does the Bible say about vain repetition. Not to do it. What is a rosary? Vain repetition. Everything, like I said, these people, everything that they believe, they say, they do is the opposite of what your King James Bible will say. The Catholic Church, almost everything that they believe, that they say and they do is the opposite of what the Bible says. Call no man father. What do they call their religious leaders? Father. Father John and Father Jim. How they don't see this is beyond me. I don't get it. All right, so anyway, deep state and cabal. I want to touch on that really quickly again. Those are the people. Those are the terms that most people are familiar with. But basically, it's hearkening back to this right here. Okay, the Rothschilds, these 13 families, the Black Pope, the people that are actually pulling the strings, the people who are actually making things happen, and then just having it presented by these people and carried out by these ones. So it's semantics, okay? But it pretty much means the same thing. They're synonymous. The deep state, the cabal, vile, evil, wicked people with no moral compass whatsoever. And like I said, they hate God. They despise him. It's not that they don't believe in God. It's not like an atheist or an agnostic or whatever. They know there's a true God. They just hate him. My wife was telling me, she was listening to the radio on the way to work, and they were interviewing people. Hey, what are you going to do when the aliens come and start abducting people? Do you think the aliens will be friendly? They're already preparing people, the non-believers especially, for what happens when we rapture out of here. For so long, our government has denied that there's aliens or whatever else. And I don't believe there are either. The Bible says that Eve is the mother of all living. Okay? So there are no Vulcans and Romulans and Klingons and all that stuff out there. It's fun to watch Star Trek and Star Wars. Okay? But don't get so don't believe it as being true. That's why it's called science fiction, of course. Anyway, so but now all of a sudden they're telling you, oh no, there could be aliens. In fact, we're really sure that there are aliens, and they're going to come here and they're going to abduct people. They know that this is coming soon. They know too. Like I said, it's not that they don't believe in God or believe that there is the one true God. It's not that they don't believe what the King James Bible says. It's just they don't want you to believe it. See what I mean? Look, misery loves company. And if these people are going to forsake God, they want for you to do it too. Look, the devil didn't want to be by himself. So he took some angels with him. Then he took Adam and Eve with him. And now all of humanity, the ones that are not saved, he's taken them with him. He wants as many people with him as possible. Good, bad, or indifferent, he wants them there. And that's what these people do. That's what they do. I want to talk about this globalist stranglehold, okay? Deep state, cabal, globalist. You hear that a lot, the globalists. The problem is that there's the left and the right. The left openly admits that they're globalists. They want everything, one currency, one religion, one government, and that's heading toward here. Then you have the right, and I think most people on the right sincerely believe that they don't want to be globalists. They don't want that, but a lot of them, if you really talk to them and find out what they believe, they're almost as bad as the left. They're globalists too. But globalists, you hear that on the news all the time. Oh, the globalists are bad. And I agree that they are. But like I said, most people who deny that they're globalists, you dig in deep and you'll find that's where they would really actually fall. Globalist, the deep state, the ones who want a one world government, a one world religion, a one world currency, this World Economic Forum. We're going to talk about that at some point. All this stuff has been put into motion it was set in place a long time ago. And I'm going to talk about, let's talk about obelisks. What's an obelisk? Well, the Washington Monument, for example, is an obelisk. Okay? And there's 3 obelisks in the world. Well, I take that back. There's others, but there's the 3 main ones I'm going to talk about today. But also, the city states that they belong in. Well, what's a city state? Washington, D.C., for example, does not belong to any particular state in the Union. It is separate from the states. Most people don't realize that. The District of Columbia is outside of the United States. It's outside of the United States. It is its own city state. So there's one. We know that there's an obelisk there, the Washington Monument. Washington, D.C. is not a part of the United States. It's the District of Columbia. It is outside of that. And this globalist stranglehold, there's three prongs, a three-prong attack, so to speak, to put all of this stuff into order. The second one is the Vatican. The Vatican is a city-state. It is not actually a part of Italy. Okay? It is its own separate entity. And the third one is London. It's not actually, central London is not a part of England. Most people don't know that, but it's true. So what is this three-prong attack? Well, London is their attack financially. London is the hub, the center for finances. The Vatican, of course, is the hub, the center for religion. And then D.C., here, well, I said in the United States, but it's not, but near the United States, I guess. Anyway, is the military component. Now, if you control finances, religion, and military, there's not much else outside of those three, really. Okay, those will touch on just about every aspect in society, in human existence. And they control those things. London, the Vatican, and D.C. That is their three-prong attack. Those three cities all have an obelisk, for one, but two, are outside of the countries in which they're surrounded by, whether it's the United States, Italy, or England. Why is that? Well, because then they don't have to follow the same rules and regulations. Going back to the Black Pope, I said he's maritime law. They don't fall under that. Okay? They don't have the same rules that you and I have. That's how they can get away with a lot of the stuff that they do. And we'll get to that later. Look, I'm going to see where else my notes are going. Because, again, I don't want to go too far. All right. I'm going to do one more page of my notes, which is about right. I'm about 40 minutes in. Hey, let me just mention this really quickly. For an example, people will say, "Oh, I'm not a globalist. I'm a Republican," or I'm conservative. Okay, but they'll try to convince you that it's patriotic to pay taxes. That's globalism. They will say, "We need to make sure that Social Security stays funded." That's globalism. Well, we want to make sure that Medicare and Medicaid are properly funded. That's globalism. Okay? We think that there should be, the minimal amount of gun control. That's globalism. All right? Here's some other things. Public schools. That is a communist ideal. That is a globalist idea to have public schools, a Department of Education, which means now the government controls those public schools, those taxpayer-funded indoctrination centers. That's a globalist idea. Compulsory schooling, meaning the government telling you, you have to send your kids to our indoctrination centers, our public schools. And most people are okay with that. Most people see it as a break from their kids. Pathetic, but whatever. Most people are, oh yeah, you got to go to public school and get your education and be a well-rounded person. No, you're going to turn out to be a clone of what these people want you to be. Compulsory schooling. Look, if I don't want to send my kids to school, that should be my decision. They're my kids. If my kids, when they get older, are like, hey, I want to learn. I want to go to this school or that one, whatever, they can do that. But it should not be compulsory. That is a communist ideal. But most people are for compulsory schooling. And yet they'll claim, oh, I'm not a globalist. I'm a right-wing Republican. You can call yourself that. And the Republicans have watered themselves down enough to where that's become acceptable. But the fact of the matter is, none of those things are constitutional. How about that? And none of those things should be supported by anyone who wants to resist this stuff here. You would not send your kids to a public school. You would demand that the Department of Education be shut down, defunded, whatever else. And you certainly would never have allowed for compulsory schooling to become the law of the land. And you'd be fighting that right now too. Here's a simple solution: homeschool. And I'm not going to get onto that too much, but I'm so tired of hearing people say, "Oh, I just don't have time." Yeah, you do. See, when you come home from work, instead of plopping down on the couch and watching Netflix for 3 or 4 hours, homeschool. Oh, but I'm not that smart. You know what? You don't have to be. There's so many resources. There are curriculum that you can buy, which will help you and your child to learn. You can get stuff for free at a library or on the internet. Just be careful what you're looking, and be careful what you believe. But still, the stuff that really matters, reading and writing and arithmetic, right? The 3 R's they used to say, which I don't get. But anyway, that's really what it comes down to. Look, a lot of our people, politicians, and not that I have a whole lot of regard for most politicians, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of them were self-educated. George Washington, he was self-educated. Benjamin Franklin. Later on, they went to some higher institutes of learning, but as much as I do not like Abe Lincoln, he's an absolute horrible person. The fact of the matter is, he was smart. There's no denying that. He was smart, and guess what? He was self-educated. You can do it, okay? You don't need public schools. But anyway, that's me running another rabbit trail. But again, not really too far. Not much of a rabbit trail, because it ties into all of this. Look, how do they control you? Well, one, with money, but two, power and control. And where is the easiest way to control and to manipulate and indoctrinate people? Public schools, television, the media. And 90% of the people in this country, I don't know about the world, but in this country, I only watch Fox News. Well, I only watch CNN. Guess what? They're all controlled by the same companies. There are 6 conglomerates that control all of the media outlets. They're only telling you what they want you to know. Yes, they may put a little bit of a liberal spin or a conservative spin or whatever else. It's the same junk. People that watch those channels and actually believe, oh, I'm aware of what's going on. No, you're not. The fact that you're watching television tells me that your eyes are wide shut. Wide shut. You got to dig deeper than Fox News or CNN, okay, to understand this and to understand what's really going on. All right? And the best place to start, right here, King James Bible, because like I said, this was telling us way long ago what was going to unfold and what we're seeing right now. Right? So you better get into this. Put down the Netflix and the Hulu and the Fox News and the CNN and all that garbage. Get into this and then start digging deep. All right? And my advice to you is to forget everything you know, everything that you think you know, okay? And come at it objectively. Just like watching this video. A lot of you might think, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, or oh, there's no way that's happening. Oh, yeah? Keep watching. Keep watching. You'll see it eventually, but by then, it'll be too late. All right, so the families, right here, these 13 families, rely on secret orders, not orders like commands, demands, secret orders like a fraternity, a club, okay? Rely on secret orders, clubs, and sub-organizations to carry out their agenda. That's what I was talking about here. Secret orders, face organizations. The UN, for example, is a face organization. Secret orders, the Freemasons, and whatever else there is out there. I can't think of any right now, but the UN and the World Economic the World Economic Forum. All right, so the UN and the World Economic Forum are just 2 of these face organizations. They put forward the vision and the steps to be taken to reach these goals, the goals that these people have, okay? Such as Agenda 2030. I talked about that earlier. These are then handed down to every country and their government. Okay? These low-level governments are all run and controlled by Freemasons. And I talked about that before, even way back when our country first started. Most of them were deists at best. All of them, well, almost all of them, Freemasons. But smart. Smart enough to know that if you want a functioning society, you better base it on something completely solid. Even if they didn't believe all of it or even any of it, they knew the stuff contained within this is a great and the only real foundation for a nation to survive and thrive. Okay? And so they did. So you have to, give them credit for that. But like I was saying before, these guys right here, the 13 families, they rely on these secret orders and these face organizations, the UN, the World Economic Forum. They rely on those people, okay, to put forward the vision and the steps to be taken to achieve the goals that these people have. Okay, but they're not going to get their hands dirty. They're not going to do they're not going to get out there with the shovel and dig the ditch. No. They send it over to these people, the governments and the politicians. These are then handed down to every country and their governments, politicians, and these low-level governments are the ones that are run and controlled by the Freemasons, and they are the ones who carry out and implement this stuff, passing unconstitutional law after unconstitutional law, and then they have their little minions, like the police forces, who go out and enforce these unconstitutional laws, even though they've taken an oath to defend the Constitution. I won't get on too much of a rant there, but I'm telling you, all these people, the thin blue line and support the police and this and that. Those are the people for the past 2 years, 20 and 21, who went around shutting down businesses and telling business owners, you can only have 25% occupancy. It wasn't Governor Whitmer or whoever your governor is who went around making sure that stuff happened. No, they sent out their minions, okay? The police forces. And these people, these police forces who took an oath to defend the Constitution, went out and willingly enforced every unconstitutional law and mandate that was handed down. And not just in 2020 and 2021, they've been doing it forever. Every single gun law on the books is unconstitutional. And you don't need the Supreme Court to decide that. We, the people, you can look at the law compared to the Constitution and determine that they're unconstitutional. Yet, the police will go out and enforce every single one of those gun laws. Why? Right here. Right here. They value their paycheck more than your rights. A good police officer, and there have been a couple. There have been a few. I have a book. I wish I had it in here with me. I don't. It's on. If you go to my Rumble channel, you'll see a video called "Why I Don't Support the Police." I talk about it there. Your county sheriffs, if they're a good county sheriff, and there have been a few, they have so much power, so much more than people realize. They have more power than your federal government. And if they are truly defending the Constitution, they will not make you register a gun, wait for 7 days, get a concealed carry permit, this, that, and the other. All those things which are an infringement upon the Second Amendment. But they're few and far apart. Hard to find. And that's the unfortunate thing. See, these governments and politicians, they implement all this stuff. They put the laws into place to implement these goals, but they're not out there. Your representative isn't going from door to door making sure that the businesses weren't open past a certain time or had those stupid plastic shields up in front of the cash register or whatever else. They weren't doing that. No, they sent the police out there, and the police willingly did it. And those are the people that you want to support. Those are the people that you wave your flag with the thin blue line on it, which is a desecration of the flag, by the way. If you actually read what it means to desecrate a flag, doing that is desecrating the flag. Not that I care, because it's just a flag to me. But for you patriotic flag wavers, you know, you're waving around something that desecrates that flag that you supposedly love so much. Again, forget everything that you think you know. If you really want to come at this objectively, you're going to find that you have very, 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 very few friends. Okay? You're going to find that you have far more enemies than friends. People you thought were your friends, they're not. Okay? The politicians that you think, oh, that's a good guy. He's Second Amendment. Yeah, really? Where's he been when all this stuff was passed? Okay? Whatever. You're going to find that there's very few people that are actually looking at this objectively and have their eyes open. Excuse me. It's a lonely road, just so you know. If you're really going to dig deep on this. But what did Jesus say? Even about getting into heaven. Narrow is the gate. Narrow is the gate. Okay? The door is open to everyone. But narrow is the gate. Why? Because there's only one way to heaven. And that's right here. Okay? But only a few will actually take Jesus up on this offer. Only a few will actually do the investigative work and come at this objectively with open eyes and an open mind and see this for what it is and realize that most of your politicians are not on your side. Your police forces are not on your side. None of these people even care about you. They want you dead. All right? They want you dead. They want you off the face of the earth. But people don't want to look at that. They don't want to realize that. Let's take a look at a verse here. Go to John. This just popped into my head. Go to John chapter 8. The Gospel of John, chapter 8. We're going to look at verses 31 and 32. This is coming from Jesus himself. Then said Jesus to those Jews which believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. Here's the key verse, 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth shall make you free. This is the truth. If you really want to be free, and I said it last time, most people are actually scared of true freedom. But if you truly value freedom, you want freedom, you have to know the truth. When you see the truth, when you find it, when you accept it, when you wrap it around your head, now you're on the path to true freedom. The truth shall set you free. Most people won't go there. They don't want to know. I'll just watch Netflix and pretend like nothing bad is happening. I'll just watch the football game and let the world pass me by. That's unfortunate. That's why we're in the position that we're in right now. That's why we have all the problems that we have in this world. Because no one really wants, well, I shouldn't say no one. There's very few who really want to make changes, who really want to change the world. And here's the thing, guys. We can make small steps. And like I said, there's always periods of time where things are better than usual or not as bad as they have been. But here's the thing. This is like the proverbial snowball effect. You know, the snowball that's this big and it's rolling down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger. That's where we're at, guys. That's where this is all is heading. We know this does not end well. I mean, for us that rapture out, it will. But until that happens, it's going to still get bad. The Bible tells us exactly what's going to happen, how bad it's going to get, even before the rapture, but definitely after the rapture. Okay? So all of this, yes, we should be pushing back against it. Stand, as Paul said. We should be doing that. But know this. It's not that it's an exercise in futility. I'm not saying that. But know this. Yes, we can make some progress. Yes, we can stand against it. Yes, we, the church, are the only thing holding everything in check right now because of the Holy Spirit within us. But know this. It's going to end the way the Bible says it's going to end. It's going to get bad. and then it will get worse. And fortunately, thank God, for those of us who are saved, we'll rapture out of here. And those that are left behind and go through this tribulation period, you think you've seen bad times? You haven't seen anything yet. You've not seen anything yet compared to what's coming and what's in store for you. That's why I go back to this right now. This is the means by which we are saved. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4. The gospel encapsulated. Trusting on the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, knowing who he is. Salvation is twofold, the who and the what. He is God in the flesh, what he did, died, buried, resurrected. Romans 3:25, trusting on the atoning blood. Without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. Jesus had to shed his blood. And we must trust 100% on what Jesus did, 0% on our works. The exact opposite of what these people teach. Because they don't want you going to heaven. And finally, Ephesians 1:13, which tells us that once you're saved, once you've done that, you've trusted on that blood, you're sealed by the Holy Spirit. You cannot lose your salvation. Let's see, what is a really big church that teaches you can lose your salvation? Oh yeah, the Catholics again. Anyway, all of this, guys, if you really want to see improvement, if you really want to see what's really going on, only the truth will set you free. Jesus said it himself. That's what you need. You need to just look at this objectively. Open eyes, open mind. Forget everything you thought you knew. All right, guys. I'm at about an hour, so I think I'm going to stop here. Like I said, I will be putting together some more notes for the next video. There will definitely be a third video, maybe a fourth. We shall see. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you standing? Are you resisting? You should be. Are you trying to bring people to this point right here? You definitely should be doing that, right? As saved individuals, it is our responsibility to try to get people to this point right here. All we can do is plant the seed. And once you've done that, okay, help to nourish and help them to grow if they accept it. But you know what? If they don't want it, you can't make them, all right? But we should be trying to get people to this point. If you're not saved, I pray for you. I pray that you will see the light, that you will see the truth, and that you will get to this point right here. Because, look, as bad as all this is, like I said, it's going to be far worse for you here. And I tell you what, if you die unsaved and you have to spend eternity in hell, that's far worse than anything even imaginable. And I don't want that for anybody. That saddens me. All right, guys, if you have questions or comments, leave them below. Contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, email, whatever. Get a hold of me. I appreciate your questions and comments. Like I said, it helps to direct where we go on this channel. And thank you. The subscriptions continue to go up. The views on the videos are exceptional. I can't thank you guys enough, honestly. I love this channel. I love doing these videos. And I appreciate all of you. Questions, comments, I think that's it. I sometimes I never know like exactly how to end the video, so whatever. All right, guys, take care and God bless.